What's the deal? It's your boy, Mr. Will, and you are now tuned in to Wilson Block 100 Radio.
Yeah, proud on the line, back to the wall. Everything I got, I'm gon' give it all. Only one shot, so I'm going hard. Everything I got, I'm gon' give it all, cause I can never lose. 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 No. So if you want it, then you gon' have it. If you believe it, then it's gon' happen. And if you take it, you ain't gotta ask it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. But she ain't found nobody like me. Said ain't on me, it's inside me. She's been around the world. But she ain't found nobody like me. Said ain't on me, it's inside me. What's the difference between me and you? See me, I got to win, so I can never lose. What's the difference between me and you? I'm number one. What's the difference between me and you? See me, I got to win, so I can never lose. What's the difference between me and you? I'm number one. Proud on the line, back to the wall. Everything I got, I'm gon' give it all. Only one shot, so I'm going hard. Everything I got, I'm gon' give it all, cause I can never lose. 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 No. So if you want it, then you gon' have it. If you believe it, then it's gon' happen. And if you take it, you ain't gotta ask it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. Just if you do it, be the best at it. But she ain't found nobody like me. Said ain't on me, it's inside me. She's been around the world. But she ain't found nobody like me. Said ain't on me, it's inside me. What's the difference between me and you? See me, I got to win, so I can never lose. What's the difference between me and you? I'm number one. What's the difference between me and you? See me, I got to win, so I can never lose. What's the difference between me and you? I'm number one. Proud on the line, back to the wall. Everything I got, I'm gon' give it all. Only one shot, so I'm going hard. Everything I got, I'm gon' give it all, cause I can never lose. 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 No.
Rappers who flourish in hip-hop without the black audience. Heads up, this article speaks to race being the basis of our point, as we believe black people to be the pioneers and innovators of hip-hop as a way of life, but not as an industry. Kendrick Lamar lost a Grammy to the likes of Macklemore, a white rapper from the 206 who, in my humble opinion, actually deserved to win. Macklemore himself even spoke out and said that he felt Kendrick deserved that award for his latest album at the time. But while Mac gave in to how everyone else was already feeling, what about the people who genuinely felt otherwise? What about the people who felt Macklemore won it outright? Well, I'm sure you could care less about hearing from one of those fans, but with such a race disparity in hip-hop today, we must ask, how are rappers flourishing in hip-hop without the black audience? It's kind of like Arby's, the restaurant. Figuratively speaking, of course, nobody you know eats there, yet they remain seemingly strong with spread out locations and memorable TV commercials. We may not know exactly how they manage their advertising budget, but we can all agree that it's probably not cheap. The idea of this article stems from the question we asked last week regarding Eminem's career album sales. What percentage of Eminem's album sales were from actual hip hop fans? On Wilson Block 100 Radio. Without getting too far into it, I'd recommend you check that episode out and chime in. Many may not like the question, but it's a valid question considering the vast amounts of talent that has blessed the mainstream over the past half century. In this article, we are discussing rappers who seem to be flourishing in hip hop without the black audience. Now, we're not saying that these artists don't have fans who are black people. What we are speaking to is the general narrative on these rappers from a black fanatical perspective, because we will never stray from the fact that black people pioneered hip hop. And no, I'm not willing to get into a trivial debate on what words a hip hop connoisseur would prefer I use. The artists mentioned in this article have black fans with strong opinions on their successes in hip hop. And we just want to highlight these things so that they may display the correlation between how music impacts virtually every aspect of our lives and in society. Yes, even politics. Many diehard black hip-hop fans are quick to tell you just how much you don't know what you're talking about when someone on a forum credits Macklemore in any given category. But the general consensus is not so much that Macklemore is a bad rapper. In fact, he's a darn good one if you ask me. More so than black people not being able to relate to his story or his image. Pokey Low, a legendary rapper from Pasadena, said he respected Macklemore's debut album The Heist because it gave him the impression that he wasn't trying to be like anyone else. On a hip-hop forum recently, Macklemore was compared to the likes of Tech Nine as the quote-unquote best independent artist to quote-unquote to do it, okay? When fans who claim they know what they're talking about say things like Macklemore isn't hip-hop, they overlook just how many authentic hip-hop icons he's worked with. The fact that he performed at a Mariners game as an independent artist, I mean, for those reading in Seattle, I can imagine this being a terrible question. They could be mad at the fact that this is even a topic of discussion. Macklemore's lack of consideration from black hip-hop fans is being recognized amidst his highly successful global tours and the great value he's built into his brand image. Even though most black hip-hop fans don't side with Macklemore and would probably never buy his album or give him top spot in a reputable category, it doesn't seem to affect the worldwide impact he makes through hip-hop music. Simply put, theoretically speaking, he's a white rapper who is successful in hip-hop without the black audience. Okay, how, Sway? Okay. Now, very rarely do I ever tell someone to slap themselves. But if you think that Eminem doesn't have black hip-hop fans, then perhaps slapping yourself might be sound advice, okay? But look at Eminem's career album sales. He surpasses even the greatest of musicians and legendary rappers. It's like these days, more and more people become vocal about Eminem being the best and all that, okay? And even in our podcast episode on Wilson Block 100 Radio, we started it off saying that M's talent is not in question here. If Eminem, as an artist of our time, can pass the likes of Michael Jackson and James Brown in terms of album sales, let alone 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg, then perhaps it's safe to say that Eminem is and can continue to be successful in hip-hop without the black audience, okay? Now, we can't talk about blacks creating hip-hop and not mention the Puerto Rican influence and contribution to the culture, okay? At the end of the day, many can make the argument that Puerto Ricans are black people too, essentially. Whether you want to subscribe to that or not, one thing remains true. It is perfectly possible to succeed in the hip-hop industry even without black supporters. But who are we kidding? Some of the hottest rappers we know today are of different ethnicities. Because black people are undeniable trendsetters, you can find them where the latest craze is today, whereas white, Asian, and even Arab rappers are still living in the golden era of hip-hop culture. Grind Mode Cyphers is a prime example of non-black rappers prospering in hip-hop. But you can't really say it's without the black audience because many of those rappers are not famous enough yet to warrant a comparison of who their true fans are. okay? Remember in the movie Ip Man, okay? Ip Man 4. Bruce Lee wanted to introduce Chinese martial arts to the Western world, but those in the U.S. city of San Francisco's Chinatown were opposed to exploiting their culture in a foreign capitalist society. Ip Man was all for Wing Chun Kung Fu spreading across the globe to other cultures and continents, but the American board didn't want to see it happen for one reason or another. How do you feel about that in terms of hip-hop? Is it bothersome that other ethnicities can thrive in hip-hop culture without bands of the race who innovated it, or do you think, at least at this point, it's a fair game? We want to hear what you think, okay? Respond in the comments or text your comments to 626-817-6978 for your response to be featured in the Wilson Block magazine. It's your boy, Mr. Wilson, that's the deal, and I want to thank y'all for tuning in, okay? I'm out.
Life is like a fucked up road trip, like the beat between the Bloods and the Crips. Fatal if you snort and blow through your nasal. Life is ugly like that old lady Hazel. It'll fuck you over like Big Mo in the pen through the anal. Somebody offer you drugs, just say no, like Nancy Reagan. Please, I'm puffing on a blunt every holiday that's pagan. Reflecting on my life and how I'm steady aging. Living my life like a 00 agent. Leave your body in a lot that's vacant. And if I'm hitting it hard, just take it, baby. You better shine with the guard, cause I'ma make it, baby. Steady on my grind, while I'm in the whip, feeling on her behind. Listen, thoughts sicken in my mind. Trying to snatch the crown, make that fly queen minds. Careful with that shit that you hear on the radio, that shit cleans minds. When I'm on the mic, only Jones go next. Lead these pussy niggas like when hoes need Kotex. Whole text, gotta bust them. You know I had to bust a rhyme like diligence. Illest villain, no longer chillin', now he killin' shit. Remind me of back in the day, when comp was still around and we was puffin' kush every day. But anyways, reflection on what might have been. Fist full of dollars, now it's just balled up fist, nigga, holler. Feels like the game got me by the collar, like Razcats when game had him by the collar. They want me to rap about ballin', fly shit. I mean I'm ballin', but I don't wanna talk about that shit. 9,000 people died in Mexico this year. AIDS in Africa, but magic got the cure. Trust me dog, this life ain't pure. But life is great without these whack ass niggas. Believe me you, I'll tax that nigga.
Life is a practical joke, but it's on you. Things I ain't supposed to do is what I'm drawn to. I need cheese like fondue, blowing kush heavily, cause sometimes life is a bad dream and I just wanna wake up. Street pharmacist, but you can't even get an apartment without a pay stub. So what's next on the list? You know the Navy got opportunity, maybe it's best to enlist. Now they got me on the pessimist list, what am I thinking? Can't smoke, next question is what am I drinking? Picture your boy in the AA meeting. Cutting corners is the only way to break even. It's all bad in the catalog. Do your research, and it's a small world after all. Went to see son, so you can say I'm a fallen matador. And I got a lot of draws to show for it. Remember Nana saying just focus and don't blow it. Before you know it, your whole life we done fast forwarded. And you would think a nigga listen to that, but I was busy in the streets, so I listened to rap. Learn that weed sales and the pigeons are flap. That was a gift, no ribbons attached. Good looking, the most low-key, low profile. Never throwing no towel in, boy slick like pro style. Still kill a show with no crowd, I'm so proud. I smashed like 40 hoes and no child. Hope my soldiers is marching. The only thing keep a nigga sane is knowing God is watching. But now the streets is talking, so my best bet stay in the booth putting beats in coffins. Mad niggas leeching off them. It's all goody, I'm at the point where I'm eating often.
It's all good.
It's nothing to kick crumbs down.
St. Francis and Dupree. Yeah. It's the memoirs of St. Francis and Dupree. Oh, it's the memoirs of St. Francis and Dupree.